You're listening to Stream, Stream, Stream. All right, welcome back, everybody. This is a special podcast. I got Andrew Yackel. Is that how you say the name?
That's how you say it.
All right, awesome. All right, he is the lead actor, or would you call it lead actor or main actor?
Yeah, either one works.
The star of the movie.
Movie star,
of,
yeah.
of a movie called Gutterbug that's coming out Tuesday, August 11th. That's coming out on a lot of major streaming platforms like Prime Video, Apple TV, and stuff like that. And but before we go there, I think everybody wants to know how you got started.
With acting.
Yep.
Well, I was mainly into art and illustration for a long time in my 20s, and I had really bad wrist problems because I have terrible posture and I'm drawing all the time and all that kind of stuff. So my doctor told me I needed to take a few months off from drawing and any kind of illustration like that. So I knew I couldn't just sit around for a few months and do nothing, and I wanted some sort of creative outlet that I could get into. And I'd always been interested in film, interested in voice acting and animation and movies. So I decided that it might not be what I can do for my whole career, but I'll never know unless I try, and I will not get, I might not get far in it, but I'll definitely won't get far if I never try it.
Yeah.
I signed up for some classes. I was living out in Pittsburgh, and I signed up for some classes through a film project, acting thing out there. And I started taking classes and then started looking around on Craigslist and Backstage at any kind of auditions I could get. And I did that for about 3 years until I did Gutterbug, and then that was kind of the final straw for me as far as, okay, if you want to do this, you can't stay in Pittsburgh because you're not going to get anywhere here. So after that, I moved down to Atlanta, and that's where I'm at now.
Yeah. So are these classes expensive, or are they just fair, or?
No, the ones that I took, they were through, what was the name of that place? I can't even remember the name. I I want to say Pittsburgh Film School, but I don't think that's it. But yeah, I think there were only like maybe 150 or 200 for like a 12-week class.
That's not bad.
No, it's pretty good.
You got a small list of your training on here, but that's probably not all the classes you took, was it? There's 6 of them on here.
I think that might be all of them. Yeah.
That's all you needed, apparently, right?
I didn't go to school for it, so I didn't get into acting until I was 28. So I was just taking classes like in the local community where I was at in Pittsburgh, and then studied with some method acting teachers in Atlanta.
So, did you practice your accents? Because you got a list of accents that says you could do like Boston, Bronx, Midwest, Southern, British,
yeah,
Irish.
Well,
was it just practice, or?
Yeah, some of those, it's like I can do them, but if I had an audition for it, I would like actually study it,
Oh, okay.
And then some of them I can do just because I like impressions, and I really like animation and voice acting. So even before I started acting at all, I would be doing impressions of people, or I think British accent is the one that everybody can do.
Yeah. So while you were going to class, did you do these short films? Was that part of the classes, or what?
No, the classes, I think the voice acting class was great. It was one of the first ones I took because the instructor would just basically get us in the studio and we'd practice something different, but it would be just time in the studio, like right in front of the microphone, and you could, have those files for after class. The other ones, you did a little bit of stuff in class on camera, but no, all the independent short films and all that kind of stuff were found just online, or there's one school out in Pittsburgh called Point Park University, and they have a pretty good film program, and I ended up working with a lot of those filmmakers as they were completing their junior and senior class projects. And I don't know what any of the grades they got on them. I hope they did well, but
now,
at that point it wasn't awesome.
Are you actor only, or did you dabble in directing or writing or anything like that?
I write on my own. I haven't been able to be committed to one idea enough to have, a completed work that I can show people.
Yeah.
I'd like to do some of that in the future, but I haven't done any of that yet.
You did plays, short films, even some TV.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, Mindhunter. You guest starred on that. Swamp Thing. Yeah. Slutty Teenage Bounty Hunters. That one sounds interesting.
I think they actually changed the name of that one to just Teenage Bounty Hunters.
Okay, that one sounds a little bit better.
Yeah, but the slutty Teenage Bounty Hunters, that catches the attention more than just Teenage Bounty Hunters.
It caught my attention,
Yeah.
So now we'll get into Gutterbug. How did you hear about Gutterbug, and what did you do after you found out about it?
So that was one on Backstage, and I would, at that point, I think this was my third year of acting, I'd apply for anything that they were going to pay your way to get out there and shoot the thing. So I didn't want to keep doing stuff that was, low budget or no budget. But I also knew I'm not going to get paid a ton, so I would just look around for anything all across the country. If they were going to fly me out there or do something to get me out there, I'd apply for it. And they had the description of the film and description of the character, and I was like, man, this is like, exactly what I want to do. I think there's certain roles that, like, every actor, it's like I want to eventually be able to do that role. Like Bug is kind of the drug addict with a heart of gold. Yeah. And that's the type of role that you'd want to play. So I found Gutterbug on Backstage, applied for it. They got back to me and wanted me to audition. I think it was just one scene that they wanted me to do a read-through of. So I did that and sent it in, and then at that point they got back to me with the full script. So I went over to a bar where I was living and had a couple drinks and just read the script, and then read it twice, just because I was like, man, this is awesome. Like, this would be so much fun to be able to do. A lot of times when you get a really good audition, you don't really want to get too excited for it.
Yeah.
Because the more you get excited, the more you potentially could get let down if you don't get it.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I got pretty excited about Gutterbug, and they wanted to get back in touch with me. Andrew Gibson and I think Chris Tobin as well was on the call, the writer, and Lee Minoka. And Lee was on there, and she's one of the producers. And so I got on the call with them, and I was expecting, maybe they're going to have me audition again, or maybe, run through part of one of the scenes on the phone. But after talking with them for a few minutes, they let me know that they wanted me to do it. And that's, it all went out from there.
So they flew you down there, and y'all started doing the scenes, and the cops kept chasing y'all off.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was saying how he was kind of starting to feel like, oh man, the cops are just watching this. We're gonna have to maybe stop. How did you feel after all the cops kept chasing y'all off?
Um, it was obnoxious, man.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to do something, especially we were in areas. I mean, the cops were getting rid of us in areas that were completely unpopulated. It wasn't like we were shooting outside of someone's store and they were getting annoyed at us. We were shooting under bridges. We've just graffiti everywhere. I mean, people are probably doing drugs down there and God knows what. We're just trying to film a movie. Leave us alone.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was definitely frustrating because we only had a certain number of days to do the movie, and I know there was one scene in particular that we couldn't get because the cops got rid of us. Yeah. A couple others, we had to hurry up and get done with it. And when you only have a certain number of days to shoot, every day matters, every scene matters, every hour matters.
Yeah, so he said after a while that there wasn't such a problem anymore, but
yeah, I think that was mainly because as the shoot went on, we were shooting more and more in areas that we had permission or that weren't really sketchy. I remember, I think part of the reason we got thrown out of a couple of places was because the land was technically owned by Harvard. And they've been doing a lot of construction, and so they had people on their land, so then they're, potentially liable for anything, so they're calling the cops.
Well, I can understand that. But it's still kind of frustrating. But anyway, so get through with filming, you go back home, they edit it, I think he said it took about a year, and then you get a phone call, they're going to actually, the next step was go to Boston and film festival, right?
Yeah, well, the after a year, I went up there to do some ADR.
Oh, okay.
I basically am doing a voiceover for part of the film to kind of, narrative structure.
Oh, okay.
Explaining what happened. And we recorded it when we initially shot it, but when they synced it together, it just didn't really work. Yeah. They had me go out there and change a couple lines, get some stuff that, maybe there was too much street noise and too many cars, so let's record this line again. And then they recorded the voiceover again, too, which I think turned out a lot better than the first one. So after a year after we shot it, basically I went up to Boston and did that, and then the next year was the film festival.
Oh, okay.
So and then I guess a year after that, it's finally going to get released. So 3 years from start to finish.
Oh, 3 years, man. Yes.
Yeah.
So you went to Boston Film Festival, or you went to the next one?
No, I went. Yeah, that was the first one, the Boston Film Festival, Boston International Film Festival, I think it's called. And that was the first one we had. And because we shot it in Boston, and because a lot of the cast and crew were from Boston, that was kind of it was really cool for that to be the first one. Yeah. Because I think we had one show initially scheduled of it, and then they expanded it to 2 showings because we sold our tickets out. Oh, cool. So we had a ton of people that were in the movie, extras, their family members, and then a lot of the people from the local community too. So that was a lot of fun, and it felt like it was like a reunion because a lot of the cast that I hadn't seen in years, they were there. Especially the 2 actors that played my parents. Oh. They came out, so I got to see them. Same with Justin and Hannah, who play Slim and Jenny.
Okay. So then you go to a couple other film festivals. You went back-to-back film festivals. How'd that make you feel?
It was really nice. It was fun. The the second one that I went to was Dances with Films in LA. Um, and that was a really cool festival because some of the other ones, like the Boston one, they had truly independent movies, and then they also had, you know, I guess, quote unquote independent movies. Stuff that's made with, a few $1 million budget that just doesn't have a home yet,
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to gauge your movie against those sometimes. But the Dances with Films one in LA, I think they have stipulations to it. It has to be made under $1 million. It has to have a no-name director and a no-name producer or something like that.
Oh, okay.
So it had more stuff so that you couldn't, you were going to see truly independent, do-it-yourself movies from filmmakers across the country, and I guess across the world, because the second, aside from Gutterbug, the film I liked the most was this film called Love Cuts from Serbia, of all places.
Oh, really? Ugh.
Yeah.
All right, so after all that, you get a phone call saying it's going to be on TV. I want to know how you felt about that. And how'd you find out about it, really?
What about the streaming stuff?
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, I wasn't really surprised about that. Because at that point, it's like it needs a platform. It needs to go somewhere.
Yeah.
So it's either going to go to Netflix or it's going to go to Amazon, which is going to be on there, and Apple TV and stuff. So I was excited for it because I've got a lot of friends and family members that haven't seen it yet, that weren't able to go to the festivals or anything. So I'm pretty excited for the release just because everyone that I know is finally going to be able to see it. And I do a lot of crazy stuff in the movie, so I'm really, really interested to see, what people that know me think of the film.
Yeah, so was you interested in the film? Like, enjoy the plot and everything else? You thought it was great and you just had to do it? Or it was just something you wanted to do and you did it?
No. I mean, no, there's definitely other things that I'm like, man, where is this going to go? The script doesn't make sense, but it's good practice, it's good experience, and maybe there's a scene or two for my acting reel, and I'll get paid a little bit. There's definitely a bunch of stuff that I've done where that's the mentality.
Yeah.
But Gutterbug, it was like, no, like this is exactly what I want to do. I was a little bit nervous beforehand because when you do an independent project, you don't really, especially if these guys were in Boston, I was in Pittsburgh, I didn't meet them before flying out there and shooting it. So you don't know what's their skill level, what's the end product going to look like, what is, how much of these guys thought this thing through.
Yeah.
And are they going to have the budget that's going to be allowing them to, make the world, feel real, add to the production value and stuff.
Just to give people an idea of how it was, you actually stayed with Andrew. Is that right?
Yeah, well, not just Andrew. At the time, Andrew lived in this house with, I think, 4 other guys, and all of them were in bands, like rock bands, and most of them were in multiple rock bands. So they had, gigs while we were shooting. The house was just decked out with Grateful Dead posters and, posters and vinyl from all these local bands and stuff. And that house was also like the headquarters for the production. So,
yeah, he said it was the headquarters, and y'all would meet there and everything else. That's pretty...
and it was nice too because a lot of times where we were shooting was pretty close to that, so we could either walk or a short drive. If you forgot something or if you needed something from home base, it wasn't.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't like in no man's land. You can't get that.
Yeah.
But it was nice, and it was kind of, it definitely helped me to feel like I was immersed in everything too, because, I wasn't, at the end of the day, going someplace else by myself and being alone. I was, at the end of the day, I was around Gibson and Toph and Tom and Lee and everyone that was working on the project. So it really was it was a really cool project and a really awesome feeling for me, because it felt like I was around all these people that were instantly my friends, that wanted me to succeed, that were helping me, and everyone was contributing to the same goal and the same end result.
So, what's the best thing you think you took away from this adventure of making the movie?
Man, I'd say, well, I think for starters, the people that I got to work with were amazing, and that's what really stood out for me. I've done a lot of projects, and Gutterbug is the one where I'm in contact with the most people from the shoot.
Yeah.
I still, communicate with the other actors and the filmmakers, and even ones that I don't talk to that much. If I saw them again, it would be, instantly like, let's talk and drink and laugh and everything. So I think that was a big part of it. And then I think the second thing that I really took away from it, when we were shooting, at a certain point, I think maybe the second week of shooting, I kind of had this realization that this was like my third year of acting, and I was a better actor at that point than I was in my second year. My second year of acting, I was better than when I started, and that leads to the fact that I'll be a better actor in the future.
Yeah.
So it was a weird feeling to be doing something where it's important and a big enough milestone in your life that in the future you might wish that you had done it better, or you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Oh, I know exactly.
Such a big moment that I want to do it even better than I'm able to do it.
Yeah.
So I think that definitely was a little bit of lesson for me in terms of staying in the moment and appreciating what's around you, but also a little lesson in how to deal with that kind of reality. And within a year, I did Mindhunter, which was the exact same thing for me, as far as the pressure to do a good job and the idea that even years down the road, you're going to think about it and wish you could do it again. So I mean, do your best, do everything you can to prepare, and
So if somebody woke up tomorrow and said, I want to do acting, what advice would you give them?
I'd say go for it, try your best, try to get involved wherever you can. I think in bigger places like LA and New York, I think actors that are starting out are going to have a tougher time, because there's a lot of competition and there's a lot of sort of paying your dues, as far as you need to do 10 projects before you have 4 that are good enough for a reel, and then you need to have 10 projects that are good enough for a reel that you can even have 3 that are really good.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of work you have to do to start to get anywhere. So you can't really be discouraged by it taking a little bit to get your feet situated and feel like you know what you're doing.
Yeah, you took classes and you did a little bit here, a little bit there, and it took you what did you say, 3 years before you did Gutterbug?
3 years before I did Gutterbug, and
Yeah.
then
So it wasn't just a wake up, hey, I'm gonna call these people to do Gutterbug. You actually worked on it for a couple of years before you did it. So
Yeah, and I think that's like the experience on set and um, finding out, how a shoot goes is really important. Because after 3 or 4 years, there were projects that I was doing that were indie projects, and there was one project in particular that I can remember. Someone going, okay, talent, we need you. We're gonna go over and shoot here, and I'm like, I'll go over and shoot there, but we're not ready to shoot. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be like 15 minutes before we're ready to shoot, because this guy needs to do this. You still need to, get the camera over there, get the lens right,
Oh yeah.
So learning on those small sets really gives you a feel for how things are going to go, so that you're not overwhelmed when the bigger stuff comes.
So don't get discouraged by doing the small things before you get to the big.
Exactly. And
All
then
right.
the other piece of advice that I would seriously give is that if you're committed to acting and you're trying to do that and trying to get far with it, have something else in your life that either makes you money or gives you joy or allows you to have like some peace, so that you're not just constantly waiting for the next audition so you can get somewhere.
That's a great piece of advice.
That's what I felt a lot, especially after moving to Atlanta. I'm like, let's go. I want to act. I want to have auditions. I want to get in the next thing. But you might. I mean, with Gutterbug was. You're lucky to work on one project a year that really makes you feel alive and passionate about it. So, the past 3 years, I've worked on one project each year that made me feel like a real actor. So,
awesome.
If all you care about is acting and all you care about is advancing your career, there might only be a week or a month out of 12 months of the year that actually make you feel like you're alive. So have something else so that the rest of the 11 months don't feel like you're just waiting for your life to begin.
All right, so what's the next step for Andrew Yackel?
Oh, man. Well, I think when I'm done with this, I'm going to go upstairs and get a drink.
Well, not tonight.
So
what are you... Do you have any plans next, or any hopes or dreams that you want to do next?
Oh, I still got hopes and dreams. I'd love to be able to... I'd love to be able to book some stuff once the industry opens back up.
We're all hoping that will hurry up and open back up.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah. This is crazy right now.
It's kind of a daunting task, it seems, because almost every single actor is out of work.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, does this mean that studios are going to be trying to save money, so they're going to cast local, so that might help me out? Or does it mean that bigger actors are going to be auditioning for smaller parts just so that they can work and make money?
Yeah.
So I think the industry, who knows how that's going to go. I'm just hoping that I can work at some point this year, either on a bigger thing or on a cool indie like Gutterbug.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing. But aside from that, I'm really trying to focus on my artwork, and I've got like a little store where I make stickers and prints of my artwork and sell originals. But I really want to get into putting my designs on clothing and trying to start a little side project that hopefully I can grow into something bigger.
All right, well, I asked Andrew Gibson this question. I want to ask you, Gutterbug 2, you think there'll ever be one?
I'm guessing Gibson said definitively no.
Actually, he said that he would love to work with you again, and maybe, but...
Yeah.
But you'll listen to it on the podcast whenever it goes out.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I definitely love to work with Gibson again. Really, everyone on the Gutterbug crew, I'd love to see again and work with again. As far as Gutterbug 2.0, It would be awesome. I'd love to do it. I don't necessarily think that that's uh, the goal right now for
So
anybody.
you think Bug's story
Honestly,
is done?
I think it might be done. There's a very good chance.
I haven't seen
And
it, so I hit the mic. Oh, I haven't seen it, so I don't know. So I thought I'd throw it out there. So
but honestly, I really like Gibson was beforehand. He was definitely more. This is it. This is all we're doing, and I honestly really liked that because doing indie projects and starting at the bottom, I have heard so many times from so many filmmakers, oh, this is just the pilot episode, and then we're gonna, we have a whole series.
yeah.
I think it's a lot nicer for me when these independent filmmakers have a goal in mind and are like, this is what we're gonna do. This is the story that we're gonna tell. A sequel will be nice, but that's not what we're focusing on.
All right. So where can people find you? You have a website, Facebook?
Yeah, I've got a website, www.andrewyackel.com. Yackel is how you spell my last name. And I'm on Instagram, Andrew_Yackel. I post a lot more newer stuff on Instagram than I do on my website.
Yeah. And now the stickers he was talking about earlier is on his website. And I looked at them, and they look pretty good. So you got to go check them out.
Yeah. I need a couple more there. I think I only got 3 or 4 right on there now. But
I didn't count them. So. But so all right. Well, you know how to find him. The movie has a Facebook page also, so you can find it there. And make sure you look for it Tuesday, August 11th on some of the major streaming platforms. I'd like to say thanks to Andrew Yackel.
Thank you for having me, sir.
I hope everybody enjoys watching Gutterbug.
Yep, and thank you to everyone that listened to me and Gibson speak. It's awesome.